The babysitter called the police on my wife, and I couldn't be more grateful. I was at work when my phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. A woman's voice, shaking, told me she was the babysitter and that officers were at my house. She said she was sorry, but she had to report what she saw. My stomach dropped through the floor. I told my boss I had a family emergency and sprinted to my car. The entire drive home, I kept thinking about my two kids, ages 4 and 6. I thought about my wife, Renee, who had been acting strange for months, distant, irritable, quick to snap at the smallest things. I told myself it was stress from her new job. I told myself she just needed time. I was wrong. When I pulled into the driveway, 2 squad cars were parked outside. My neighbor was standing on her porch with her hand over her mouth. I found my kids sitting on the couch with a female officer, wrapped in blankets, their faces red and swollen from crying. The babysitter, a college student named Priya, was in the kitchen giving a statement. Renee was nowhere to be seen. An officer approached me and asked if I was the father. I nodded. He asked me to step outside. That's when he showed me the footage from the nanny cam I had installed 6 months ago. The camera I thought was broken because I never received any alerts. Renee had been deleting the footage every night before I got home, but Priya had accidentally seen the live feed on her phone while checking the Wi-Fi password. What she witnessed made her call 911 immediately. In the video, Renee was screaming at my 4-year-old daughter for spilling juice. She grabbed her by the arm and shook her so hard my daughter's head snapped back. Then she dragged her to the closet and locked her inside. My daughter was pounding on the door, sobbing, begging to be let out. Renee walked away and poured herself a glass of wine like nothing happened. The timestamp showed this was 3 hours ago. My daughter had been in that closet for 3 hours before Priya arrived for her shift. I watched the footage 3 times. Each time, I felt something inside me die. I thought about all the nights my daughter had clung to me when I came home, how she always wanted to sleep in my bed, how she flinched when Renee raised her voice. I thought about my son's sudden bedwetting, his nightmares, the way he stopped talking at dinner. I thought all of it was normal kid stuff. I was blind. Priya found my daughter still locked in that closet when she arrived. She said my daughter was curled in a ball, barely breathing, covered in her own urine. Priya opened the door, and my daughter just looked up at her and whispered, "Please don't tell mommy I cried." The officers asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said yes before they finished the sentence. They told me Renee had been taken to the station for questioning. They said the footage would be used as evidence. They said my children would need to be examined by a doctor and interviewed by Child Protective Services. I signed every paper they put in front of me. When they finally left, I sat on the kitchen floor and cried harder than I have ever cried in my life. My kids came and sat next to me. My son put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Daddy, it's okay, we're safe now." He was 6 years old, and he was comforting me. That broke something in my chest I don't think will ever heal. Priya stayed until my mother arrived. Before she left, she handed me a folded piece of paper. It was a list of dates and times she had noticed bruises on my children that didn't match the stories Renee told her. She said she started keeping track 2 months ago, but didn't have proof until today. She apologized for not saying something sooner. I told her she saved my children's lives. I told her I would never be able to repay her. She just shook her head and said, "I have a little sister their age, and I couldn't live with myself if I stayed quiet." Then she hugged both my kids and walked out the door. The investigation uncovered 18 separate incidents on the nanny cam footage dating back 5 months. Renee had been systematically abusing my children while I was at work, then deleting the evidence every night before I came home. She would act normal at dinner, kiss them goodnight, play the perfect mother whenever I was watching. The detective told me this was one of the most calculated cases of child abuse he had seen in his career. He said abusers like Renee are rare because they usually slip up eventually. She never slipped up. She just got caught by a babysitter who happened to check the Wi-Fi password on the wrong phone. Renee was charged with 2 counts of child abuse and 1 count of false imprisonment. She tried to claim it was stress, that she needed help, that I had abandoned her emotionally. Her own mother testified against her. She's serving 4 years now. My kids are in therapy 3 times a week. My daughter still won't go near closets. But last month, she laughed for the first time in over a year. She was playing with Priya, who still babysits every weekend. When I heard that laugh, I knew we were going to be okay.